Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Hult Price at UCL podcasts. As you know, this year's edition of the competition challenges you to innovate in the world of fashion in order to make it more sustainable. So this series of podcasts is meant to inspire you and engage you all along the competition at UCL scale, so until March or so, by inviting startup founders, strong industry stakeholders, and many more. And so today we are extremely grateful and excited to have Saoirse Kelly. So Saoirse has founded What's Yours is Mine, or WYIM, a well student of the MSc Entrepreneurship at UCL, which she still is now. So Saoirse, hi. Could you do a quick intro for your fellow UCL students? It would be great to really understand your background, and if you could tell us how you came up with the idea of WYIM. I said in one of your digital marketing assets, it was related to your mom, right?
Yes, yeah. So as Thomas said, my name is Saoirse Kelly. I have a background in fashion. So I did my undergrad in fashion buying and merchandising. And throughout my time there, we had to keeping in mind sustainability. So I learned a lot about sustainability within fashion and how bad the fashion industry actually is. So it's the second largest polluted industry, which really surprised me. So I've always kind of had a passion to do something to counteract that. So I started a swapping platform as a part of my final year project, which was targeting at university students. And then throughout my time at UCL doing my entrepreneurship course, I kind of changed that idea around a bit. So I've always found it quite easy to buy secondhand. I predominantly buy secondhand. However, when I tried to encourage my mum to do the same, she's always kind of really struggled. She likes premium brands, likes high quality, she likes things to be done quickly and easily. And the idea of going to a charity shop and sifting through things was not her idea of fun, and actually stopped her being sustainable with her clothing. So I thought there's got to be people out there like my mum, who's a professional businesswoman, who need workwear attire of a higher quality, but also want to be sustainable and want it to be easy. So that's where I created WYIM, which is a pre-owned resale platform for upper high street clothing, targeting professional women and workwear.
That's very good. That's very nice to hear. To be honest, when you see successful founders, they really are leveraging the kind of own personal experience they have, and also I truly feel like this experience can inspire the UCL students, because you're still at UCL, and they are structuring the business while trying to balance with uni work, which is for sure not as easy as some people would think. And still, I feel like this opportunity for you to develop your business plan rather than write a dissertation obviously helped you maybe one half this time. So it's been definitely key. And also, so you said it's obviously the second most polluting industry, and so waste is huge in this area, and WYIM, that's definitely the challenge that WYIM is trying to tackle. But so what do you feel would be the kind of next challenges to tackle, whether in this industry or for WYIM?
So I think there's a lot of focus in the fashion industry. So there's a lot of issues where there's kind of pollution that comes across from conception of the idea. So you have the textile waste, and then when you make the products, there's more waste, and then you ship the products, and that's obviously a huge impact. And then even getting the product to a consumer has a huge impact. So there's a lot of different areas within this kind of supply chain which you can focus on in the fashion industry. And the reason why I chose kind of the end product is I believe that recycling and reusing is really important, because it completely cuts out that entire supply chain if we just reuse the items we've already made. So that's kind of where my focus is and where I personally lie. I'm also not a designer. So that's kind of where I have the skill set to be able to work with items that have already been made. My background is very much supply chain and logistics. So kind of keeping a circular economy is really important, like personally, but it's also where kind of like my skills align, which is why I've chosen to focus on that for WYIM and kind of minimize the waste and production of new products.
Okay, yeah, definitely makes sense. And would you always focus on the same this customer segment, or where would you see yourself kind of going with different maybe types of services as well? Because I know that you're taking care of the whole process. They just have to send the picture, the clothes to you, and you take care of the whole pictures, modeling, and reselling and repackaging. But is there something else that you are thinking you would like to add to your product and in terms of customer segments as well?
Yeah. So like you said, at the moment we take items off people, we photograph it, we put them onto our site, and then at the point of sale, we just take a commission and the rest of the money goes back to the original owner. But my idea of a circular economy, ideally, I would love it if we could start having items coming back into WYIM. So we're actually coming up with a new concept where you can exchange items. So if you've previously bought something in WYIM in the last 6 months, you can sell it straight back to us and we'll give you a discounted voucher to spend on the site to try and keep this idea of like the clothes being reused, and we'll resell them. So that's kind of where I would like
the customers. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the idea of keeping everything in the same sort of circle.
That would be very cool.
Yeah.
Coming back to uni, what would you say have been the biggest challenges to find your company while studying at UCL? Like, and on the other side, what did you find useful as kind of supports that you got from either lecturers, the online resources, because I know we've mentioned it a couple of days ago as well, and anything else that you can get from UCL?
So I think the biggest challenge is the work-life balance. So balancing when I spend time on WYIM and when I spend time on my assignments can sometimes be difficult, especially with deadlines coming in. I tend to kind of lose focus of WYIM a bit and focus more on university. But then on the flip side of that, so many of our assignments are so productive for my business. Like there's been assignments I've done which has been, go and speak to customers, which has been completely, goes hand in hand with what I'm doing. For me, one of the biggest helps is I did pitch day at UCL. So a couple of students can actually have the opportunity to pitch to potential investors and other students and outside people, and they come to UCL and we do a big day of it, and it was really fun. And that was so productive. I got really good training on how to pitch, but I also got really good feedback from people that didn't know my business at all. And a lot of people came and questioning me, and that really made me rethink my business model and actually what I was doing. And the same with the lecturers. I mean, Simon, the head of our course, has had multiple conversations with me when my business was a different idea to what it is now. And he really helps with kind of how to make it as manageable as possible and to make it scalable, whilst also focusing on my personal mental well-being within the business.
Yeah, I feel like there's kind of two folds in those two big supports that you just mentioned. So there's one with the structuring and the training with the pitch day that you said. I don't know if that would be open for students outside of the School of Management, but I know that outside, just in London, there are so many kind of pitch competitions where they help you mentor a little bit as well to structure your idea, how to sell it, because I know how important it is in the whole price competition to be able to clearly speak and clearly sell your idea. So that would be one thing, and I'm sure that UCL has got like the entrepreneurship, the Entrepreneurs Society, for example, organize those, or the incubators that the two incubators from UCL could help with. And also kind of as an advice for the students on the second fold for the mentors and read the discussions that you've been able to have with Simon, so our program director. It's true that we will have, and you will have, different mentors to have that will take care of a couple of teams every time. So that's some resources that you really need to leverage and have a close relationship to, because those people know the competition, have this business background that would help you. Sorry, I'm talking to the students now, Saoirse, and to them that would really help you structure your idea and get the best out of it in a way. And sorry, now coming to you, in terms of understanding your go-to-market strategy and social entrepreneurship as a whole, what has it been like to think about social profitability for your company? Because some people would think, you know, that social entrepreneurship would be the whole price is really about social entrepreneurship, and people would think that, you know, it's not about profitability, but it remains a private company, so it needs to make money to grow and innovate and survive.
Yeah, definitely. And I think because I am very focused on sustainability, sometimes I have kind of that dilemma of what I would do ideally in a world and then what I need to do to make money. So it's definitely been a thing of, you know, to do what I love and to get more people to buy secondhand, I need to make this profitable to more people. So it's kind of been thinking about how to cut costs, how to be really lean with it, basically. So, you know, the first time we did a photo shoot for Put the Items on WYIM. We used a professional photographer and we used models and we really went the whole 9 yards. And now we're doing it again. And I'm kind of rethinking, okay, we don't need this. We don't need that. Like, I can wear the clothes. I can be in the photos. You know, let's just make it cheaper without losing the essence of what WYIM is and that premium feel. But also let's cut our costs so that the clothes can be less expensive for our customers and we can maybe engage a wider audience. But it's definitely important because I can't keep going with this message of sustainability unless WYIM is profitable and able to run.
For sure. And do you have a tangible example of really like one thing that you kind of took out of your business model or your processes to get a little bit you know, of cost saving?
Yeah, I think definitely the way we're shooting clothes has completely changed. I mean, we spent like a couple of grand on our first photo shoot, and now instead I bought a light box and a white like background for maybe a couple of hundred. I have a camera. I'm using friends as models. I think I'm even using a friend to take the photos. So I'm really completely cut that cost. And even with how, you know, we get items, we're trying not to do too much on the packaging and we're trying not to do unnecessary shipments, kind of keep it as, you know, streamlined as possible. And really, I think the biggest thing is to be really transparent. When I first started doing the photo shoot, I wasn't really paying attention. I was kind of like, oh, no, you know, I don't need to document everything. And I got some advice saying, write everything down, everything you are buying. Like, even if you don't think it matters, put it down. And I then actually got to look at how much it was adding up to. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, so this is where we can cut the cost. As if you're not aware of what the costs are, you don't know where to begin.
So the accounting part of it is very important. And talking so about finances, so in terms of investments, what are like kind of the challenges that you are facing right now, and what does your roadmap look like for you? So, you know, would you like to remain bootstrapped or go with VCs or external investments? So for the ones who are new to the entrepreneurship world, bootstrapping a company means growing it organically without any requiring any external investments. So just like VC, so venture capitals, and this branch of private equity that is focusing on high risk, high growth startups in a way. But so VCs would help grow the company way more quickly by injecting a lot of cash. But obviously, there has to be something in there for them, and so they would take some equity, so some parts of the company, and the founders or the founding team will be diluted and will own obviously less proportion of the company.
Yeah, so for me at the moment, I'm really fortunate. So I'm able to bootstrap, and I'm really fortunate with the team I have around me. So as Thomas knows, my mum helps a lot. She is she is an entrepreneur, but she recently sold, and she has a lot of resources I've been able to tap into at quite a low cost. However, because of the way the world is going, I do believe sustainable fashion is on the rise. So I think in the future, probably within the next 5 years, once I've really proved my concept and have a good early adopter consumer base, I would probably take private equity to allow me to scale up at the pace I believe the industry will, because I fear if I keep bootstrapping, I will actually lose out on that growth period that is going to happen for this kind of sector. I personally I personally wouldn't necessarily take VC funding. For me, because I've got a big moral alignment with WYIM, it would really have to be a great partnership where they really truly believed in this idea of a sustainable fashion, a circular economy, and they were going to move forward with that idea. As in, I fear that if there's a huge financial investment in me and the business, and they expect a very large return, I may have to compromise on morals and ethics that I personally do believe in. So I think private equity would be better, where I could align with individuals rather than businesses.
That makes sense. But I see that for sure that since the last 5 or 10 years, there's been so much more investment in this field, and it's been growing so much, and just like the consumer behaviors are slightly changing, I'd say, but it needs time, obviously. But yeah, I know, and also that some incubators and VCs, sorry, are starting to specialize in this area, but not so like everywhere yet. And so now I'm going back just to you as being, the founder of your company and managing it. And how does that feel to manage your business? Because you were saying that you really wanted to be, the head of your company. I'm sure you have to feel like loads of pride and self-reward, right? Even if there's still a lot of work to do, for sure.
Yeah, I think it is. I get lost in it a bit sometimes. Like, there's a lot to do, and I focus on all the things I could be doing. That sometimes it's hard to take a step back and feel kind of like proud of what I've necessarily achieved. I love having WYIM. I love doing something that I really believe in, and for me, it's kind of like ruined me for working for someone else, because I would really struggle to not have the kind of freedom and passion that I have for WYIM in a job. I think the biggest probably like challenge I would say is, and we discussed this the other day, would be managing what I personally would like to do and where I'm personally comfortable doing things, and then what WYIM requires. So the example I used the other day with Thomas is, we're doing a big marketing campaign in January, and that I know WYIM requires offline marketing. I believe that I need to go to events, and I need to do flyering, and I need to meet people. Now, personally, that's one of my worst nightmares, and I just don't like the idea of doing it. So kind of that conflict of what I need to do to make this business grow and actually give it a really good chance, and what I'm comfortable with, are very different. And I think that as an entrepreneur is always having to be out of your comfort zone and really push yourself, because otherwise I'm not really giving my business a fighting chance if I'm going to let myself hold it back. So that's, I think, the biggest challenge of having your own business, is making sure that you're not getting in the way of it. You're pushing yourself, as well as like for the best interest of the company.
Yeah, for sure. 100, always kind of 100%. And you mentioned this next marketing campaign. Are there any kind of milestones coming up as well? Other milestones with the marketing, or I don't know, networking events that would be helpful, or some other places you would go?
Yeah, so well, we're looking to do it in mid-January. We're kind of trying to do like a declutter your wardrobe after Christmas, new year, new wardrobe, but be sustainable with it, that kind of vibe. I mean, our biggest thing at the moment is just to try and sell our clothes. So we're trying to engage as much as possible with customers. I've had a huge focus on development, and we spent a long time developing the website, and that still carries on, and thinking about the future of what we want the business to be. But now it's kind of like a big push to go and meet people and actually get feedback and see how people are feeling about it. And that's why it's really important for me personally to do offline marketing, because I can't really get that feedback via Facebook and Instagram adverts. As in, if I go networking with people who are in the industry, they can give me some really good feedback, and it can be face to face. And I just think that's a much better way of getting this kind of connection with customers, is to actually then meet me, and I can really sell kind of what my passion for the business, which is sometimes hard to achieve with social media marketing.
Yeah, I get what you mean, definitely. So we're getting close to the end. But I just wanted to ask you, obviously it's more inspirational and it's not maybe realistic right now, but if you were to get that $1 million from the Hult prize funding, do you know what would be the key things you would be focusing on? Because also for the ones that are not so. So in this world, it's very difficult, even if you have so much money, and it's not always so good to receive so much money, depending on your business model, etc. And so that's why this question can be very interesting to hear Saoirse's this answer.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I think it's difficult. I think I would probably focus on finding customers and making sure I'm speaking to people before developing anything else. I think the benefit of bootstrapping over having investment is I don't have very much money, which does keep me quite lean and very focused because I don't have any money to waste. So I think if I had the million, I'd probably still go the same route of, throwing it into meeting people, doing focus groups, doing surveys, maybe hiring people to research and do customer research and market research. I think that's definitely where I would benefit, and then go back and develop the product further.
Great, cool. Well, thank you so much for all these insights. I'm sure that that's going to be super helpful and inspiring for the participants to carry on in the competition, and deliver the best outputs and win that competition at UCL level, and then hopefully the regionals, and then the worldwide level, obviously. We were so happy to have you on the podcast, and we're looking forward to hearing about WYIM's success. But to finish, and the very last question would be, would you have any piece of advice to share to them to prepare the idea, structure it, and going to pitch it?
Yeah, I think definitely, if we're talking from a business perspective, definitely get out there and speak to people. I spent way too long developing a platform that I thought was going to be amazing that no one wanted, which is why I had to change. So I think kind of not letting fear hold you back. And then when it comes to the actual pitch itself, I think obviously making sure you have a good structure, making sure you've rehearsed it to a point where you can just have fun on the day. I loved pitching, and I really didn't think I would. I really enjoyed being in front of the audience because I knew what I was saying, and I kind of knew that it would come to me if I forgot. So I think having that level of preparation so you can just enjoy the day and relax when you're on stage would be ideal.
Great. Well, thank you so much for everything, for all your insights. That was great having you here, and I'm sure that everyone is going to really appreciate that podcast.
Amazing. Thank you so much.